With this work, I want to acknowledge what is known too well among people of color. I also want to invite the dominant culture to listen for these narratives. So I'm sending this to be used as a tool by educators and those who will engage the dominant culture. I urge you to use them, to invite others to use them. May they be effective on even the hardest of hearts. The set is a triptych of 3-foot by 4-foot panels done in oils. It is terribly violent and may upset you. It upsets me to paint this and that our condition exists at all. It acknowledges the sound while it also speaks to an audience programmed not to hear these things. There was a letter from a policeman's wife who prayed for her husband, a decent man, that he would make it home alive. Consider this. Her prayer is no less right and no less honorable than the hopes and the prayers of the loved ones who are unjustly the victims of the police. They hope their husband, their father, their son, their sister or brother returns home alive also. So the first panel is filled with people praying, a choir of younger, older people. They're all praying the same thing. They're praying for someone they love, someone they value. Lord, bring them home safely. Bring them home alive. That is our likeness, our common ground. We are so similar in our care and our hope and our expectation for those we love. The hands are lifted in worship. They're lifted in a surrender to the divine and pleading for the life of another. But they're also echoed by the hands that are lifted up in protest. Perhaps someone is pleading for his own life. My hands are up. Please don't shoot. The second panel of this triptych is the nightmarish metaphor. It's a story. It's a picture story. And here are wild African dogs and the carcasses of the beasts of prey they hunted. Imagine trying to survive on that road at night. Look at them, tearing bloody flesh. Now this is an illustration. Imagine a young man who went out at night as he comes home with Skittles. Imagine any simple travel from point A to point B is fraught with the possibility of a fatal encounter. Now the third panel is an indictment. As we delegated authority to officers of the law, so the viewer now becomes part of the narrative. The viewer points in accusation. The viewer holds guns and the killing is excessive. Bodies lie in a single street as wherever these unnecessary killings happen, whether it's Ferguson or Baton Rouge, Milwaukee, Baltimore, Boston, Staten Island, Los Angeles, Dallas, they all died in the same street. As viewer in particular, these are our guns and our fingers which point accusations. The law enforcement systems are ours, and in a sense where we stand, we are the judge, the jury, and the executioner. Now some of us are too defensive and too enamored of a false narrative to ever hear it straight up. So I tell a story, and I show them in a picture. I found myself angry as I painted. At times I held back tears. Do you see the Alton Sterling figure? His fingers are open wide. He has no weapon. He is no threat. But in a moment, he is dead. It's unnecessary. It is outrageous. Someone wrote of John Brown as God's angry man. And I feel that way a bit. I want people to see the common disrespect, the overwhelming brutality, injustice, and gross harm too often and especially directed toward people of color. Now, if someone in anger says to me, these men are not animals, I may agree with you, but then point at the other and respond, but neither are these. There should not be a false narrative of justice. So I want some to see this work and have their own inescapable, I can't breathe moment. I want you to feel this is deeply as anyone who loves someone enough to want them to make it home alive.